what were your reasons to move to Business Central?
Yeah, so when I inherited our nav environment, we were on nav 2017. This is probably back in, I think I'd say like 2019, 2020-ish. And this was right around the time where Microsoft was releasing the end of support for, the different versions of nav.
Hmm.
And being the director of IT and knowing that I had a legacy system that I was in charge of, that I had to support, I had to make sure was secure, and that I was hosting on-prem, that really made me nervous. And so, before I even got into this role, I didn't really know a whole lot about ERP systems. And so when we had some staff turnover, I was lucky enough to inherit our nav environment. So, I got to hear about all the different pain points for departments about, how, they wanted to use the system, how, the system's limitations, how, maybe business processes didn't work. And
Hmm.
we wanted to deploy some add-ons. So if you're running a legacy system like Nav, a lot of the major add-ons that are on the market today are not supported.
Yeah.
Or you're paying more for a legacy version of the software, which might not have, the security updates or anything like that you would expect to have, when you're spending, 20, $30,000 or more on one of these add-ins. So, after spending all that time with those departments, I really wanted to make sure that, we could make these efficiency changes. But, once I was getting quotes back and telling these vendors that, we wanted to upgrade to Business Central pretty soon, pretty much every single person came back to me and said, just wait till you get to Business Central because it'll be a huge cost savings for you. So that way you're not essentially having to pay for, two different deployments of the same software. And
So that sped up things for you.
it really did. And so that's really what put a fire underneath, my company at the time, was just to make sure that, for us to make some operational efficiency changes, we needed to go ahead and upgrade before we could start taking, steps in the right direction to deploy them. And part of that too is, the huge code change between Nav and Business Central. So, the base code language changed. And so that was the reason that you essentially had to deploy the products twice.
Yeah.
If you did it both in Nav and in Business Central.
Yeah.